Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of Merricks Garage. If this is your first time tuning in, I want to say thank you. I put up a video a week and I started the channel about 3 years ago to detail some of the things I had done to my K5 Blazer, and it has just kind of snowballed from there. I'm now building a rear frame and putting in links, and I've done an LS swap and 1-tons and cage and 4 links. So lots of stuff on the channel. I hope you guys dig it. We'll come back. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell thing next to it. That will give you a notification. Today, I'm finishing up plating the frame on the driver's side, and I'm going to start taking a look at the rear links. I got to start getting those tackled and getting them in. I also get a lot of questions from you guys as to where some of the tools, like various little things and widgets that I have. I put everything down in my Amazon store, so if you're looking for the Acme threaded jack stands, or if you're looking for, you know, the little reamer tool I use, or some of the hole saws, or whatever, I try and link as much as I can in the Amazon store, so check there first. It's most likely in there. But enough housekeeping. Let's go tackle this frame. So here is the plate that you can see I'm putting on. Let me get the measurement on this for you. Seven gauge. So I'm just clamping it on here right now so we can get our cuts. Getting a lot of stuff done today. I have so far finished welding in both sides of the plate. So let me show you the side I just finished up. There was a lot of welding to be done on this section of the frame, and as you can see, I skipped over putting those 3 holes in this plate. First and foremost, because I suck at welding holes and they look terrible. Second of all, I just didn't think they were really necessary. And with the 7th gauge I'm putting down here and the 5x2 120 wall, this is going to be super robust, especially around the junction box between the 2 frames and the link brackets. Stoked on this. One of my new thoughts here is to bring the existing frame up to here and then butt weld this and then strap over the top or plate over the top. But this is roughly 5 inches behind my link bracket, which would mean that I would have 7 inches of existing frame to sleeve over the tube, which would be great. And then I could bolt plate underneath, I could plate over the top, butt weld this and plate over that if need be. I've also got this cross member burned in right here. This is, ooh, it's still warm, my main central cross member. Now there's going to be another one where the bump stops and everything are going to be sort of around. I'm thinking the bump stops are going to come in here, because that brings me to my next section, which is these guys. I need to cut these guys down. They're currently just stock length. They're what they came from OffRoad Design. They're 48 inches. I spent a long time yesterday talking to OffRoad Design about link lengths, and while I can't go wrong with the link lengths I've got right now, making them shorter would help a little bit in terms of clearances. As the links get longer, they basically get flatter. Flatter means they hang down lower. Lower means they're going to scrape on rocks. So An inch or two will make a difference in clearance. It's not going to make a difference in handling and ride characteristics. So in this case, shorter will work better for me. So I've got to cut these down. I'm going to take 3 inches off, which will bring me down to 45. And then I still have the availability of the joints. I got about 2 inches in there, so I can bump it back up if I need be. 3 inches. We'll see if it's good, but I think it's going to be okay. So I got it all lined up outside. I'm going to go cut my first one. I just got all the link arms cut down 3 inches. And it's time to prep them. Yeah, so there they are. What I like to do is bring them over to my vise. I take this guy. This guy right here is a deburring tool, and it's fantastic. After last week's video, I was contacted by a handful of people asking for more detail on the 4-link kit that I'm putting in, and more specifically the OffRoad Designs kit. So I'm going to jump a little bit into the tech here. It's a lot simpler than when we did the parallel 4-links up front. But before I get into that, I do want to say that a lot of what I learned from Busted Knuckle Garage. They have a fantastic website. Jake Burley does a really good job over there. And if you really want to get down in the weeds with instant center and roll axis, anti-dive, anti-squat, where you want them, why you want them, I suggest going over there and checking out his video series on link setups and all of the stuff that comes around with it. This is going to be high level. This is going to be Merricks Garage understanding. So if you want more detail, go check those places out. I haven't spoken much about this 4-link setup yet because it is so simple compared to the parallel 4-link we set up front. I don't have to deal with any steering. I don't have to deal with caster. I don't have to deal with tow. I don't have to deal with panhard bars. I don't have to deal with an engine and drive shaft, exhaust, and all the other stuff that made packaging so difficult. I'm able to go with a triangulated 4-link. The reason a triangulated 4-link is so preferable is it's inherently stable. The very nature of the design is going to constrain it to a truly longitudinal wheel travel. You're not going to have any deflection, you're not going to have any side to side, you're not going to have anything that you've got to accommodate for with a panhard bar, extra bracketing, all that kind of stuff. The other benefit to a rear 4-link setup is it's a trailing arm, so to speak, meaning that the leading edge is not pushing into the bump, but is being pulled over the bump. What that means practically is your angles are a lot more forgiving. A couple of degrees or an inch or two or a couple of inches of a separation angle can make a big difference up front. If you have your caster wrong, it can make a tremendous difference in how that truck's going to steer. None of that matters back here. The 4-link system locates the axle in space, the shock towers locate the shocks, and the shocks provide resistance as the travel moves through its arc curve. One of the nice things about a 4-link setup is you have a very predictable wheel travel. Unlike a leaf spring, which will move the axle in different directions dependent on how the load is experienced, with a 4-link setup, you've got 4 fixation points on the axle and 4 fixation points on the frame. So that's a 4-link setup. Let's talk a little bit about what Off-Road Design brings to the table. Much like in the front, the brackets that you receive from OffRoad Design make this a walk in the park. Compared to fabbing up your own brackets and worrying about link lengths and worrying about angle of separation and worrying about how it's gonna appear and drive, they've done all the math for you. All you gotta do is choose where you're gonna put the brackets. That's gonna be mostly a clearance issue. One of the only considerations I really ran into when running this 4-link rear setup is where am I gonna position the front brackets and how long do I want my link lengths. The longer the link length, the better. Now hypothetically, you can go too long, but a flatter link is always preferable to a high angled link. So work in progress here, work in progress. Pardon the messy shop. It just seems to get dirty every time I do something, duh. But yeah, the quick mock-up of where the axle's gonna sit and the link brackets all tacked in, link lengths. Something's not quite lining up right yet, and I still gotta figure it out. It looks pretty square, but it's not as square as I would like. I think that's due to a bunch of the deviations that I'm gonna have with how these brackets mount on a square tube instead of a round tube and things like that. But yeah, the cool thing is full bump is gonna allow me to run my bump stops flush with the top of the frame rail. So those guys, let me see if I can track down. Oh, here's one. The way the axle is going to be sitting and what full bump is going to look like means that the bump stop's going to sit right about like that, which I'm pretty happy with. I like how it's going to be flush with the top of the frame. Just got to figure out how I'm going to mount these guys and what I'm going to do for a strike pad down here on the axle tube. So yeah, that's pretty cool. This guy right here, which I was concerned about being a point where the link arms were going to impact as it cycled. I thought they'd come up and hit. That doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to actually bottom out on these tabs to this guy first. Now this guy will be moving up to reinforce the bump pad, the bump stops I'm going to be putting here. And I'm also going to be switching it for this tube. This guy right here, this is 1/4 inch. And I don't need it in this area because it's already pretty robust. So I'm going to be popping it out and putting it in right here to give me a super rigid structure that I can put the bump stops on and start building the shock hoop off of. This is pretty close to ride height. I'm trying to make it as perfect as I can, and I don't know if that's really truly necessary given that I'm going to have quite a bit of adjustment in it when I put the axle in. But whatever. It's lining up. I don't know why I picked the middle of summer to start these projects, but you gotta get done what you gotta get done. And overall, it's pretty enjoyable. So, thanks for checking in. I'll see you next week. Merricks Garage.